Engagement at the tabletop role-playing game table. What do you do if they're not engaged? Aw, we're engaged. What's up, nerds? It's your boy, the OGGM, walking and talking. Apparently I can't do live streams from the phone anymore. Don't know why. So we gotta do it this way. We're talking about engagement. So this is in reference to a post that I saw yesterday or the day before, and I made a very, what I thought, simple response, but oh boy, did it get ugly fast. And there are some really, really ugly, hate-filled people in the OSR. I hate to agree with Condor, but on this one, yeah, most of the OSR are just these ugly, hateful people who don't like anything that doesn't fit in their very small little bubble, and makes gaming for the rest of us that much harder. So the question was, what do you do if a player doesn't seem to be engaged in your game? The simple answer, of course, is talk to them and, well, define engagement, because how one person engages with the game and how other person engages with the game might be completely different depending upon their level of social skills, social awareness, and whether, if they're on the neurodivergent spectrum. Well, let's face it, we're all on the spectrum. It's why it's called a spectrum. And a lot of gamers are OCD or high functioning or dyslexic. I mean, well, a lot of us have these, issues. And yes, they are real, asshole who said they weren't real. So define engagement. Now, obviously, the first answer would be talk to them. Hey, I noticed you don't really seem engaged in the game. You're looking at your phone. You're looking at the book. You're not really interjecting. What can we do to make this more work out? And I don't know, maybe they don't like your game, or they're busy, maybe that's just not how their brain works. Maybe they just want to relax and kick back and not be focused because this is their fun time, or maybe they're engaged in just a different way. So define engagement or lack thereof. And all the solutions I saw were kick them out of my game. They don't get a second chance. Fuck them if they can't work like everybody else. One of the last people in the world I thought who would have that response was Professor Dungeon Master. His response was basically, Phil, this game isn't working for you, so get lost. Not, hey Phil, can we work together to maybe find a happy medium? What is it that I am not presenting that would make you more engaged? And maybe you would have found out actually Phil is engaged. He just engages in a different way because he's somewhere else on the engagement, social awareness, neurodivergent spectrum. So are you looking for people who engage Critical Role, Sam Riegel, cosplaying, silly voices, special set of dice, are very excited and very focused and very much on the game? Is that what you consider engagement? Do I have to live up to the ideal set by Critical Role in order to make you think I'm engaged? Or is engagement just, well, I show up to the game on time, I have all my materials, I have my player's handbook, I have my dice, I have my pencil, I have my paper, I have my character record sheet, I'm ready to go, I play the game, I roll the dice. If there's a situation where I need to talk to somebody, I talk to them. But if the camera's not directed on me, I'm not interjecting. And when the game's over, I say thank you and you come back next game. Is that engagement? Define what you mean by engagement. Now, if you're saying they're doing something that's disrupting the table, having other outside conversations, being on the phone, not looking, doing something disruptive, well, yeah, they're not engaged. But again, that's something you could work on. You see, that guy didn't even bother to tell me he was behind me. Fucking e-bike pricks. I'm in a foul mood, guys, sorry. But yeah, okay. So I guess what we're talking about is the cell phone, right? And I've brought this up before. several times about the cell phone. But unfortunately, the cell phone is going to become more and more of a prevalent thing at the game table as more and more aspects of the game go digital. D&D Beyond and the character sheet apps are just the beginning. We're also going to have dice rollers, spell books, everything that exists physical is going to have some digital AI representation. Now, physical in my mind is always better, simply because no matter how good the app is, it's only as good as the phone or whatever it's on, and the phone or whatever is only as good as the internet where you are, right? Because I've been at plenty of games where people have had 80% of their thing on the phone, but because the phone doesn't live up to the capabilities to run the stuff, or the internet where we are is really slow or clunky or whatever, the response time of the digital is way slower than just me writing down on a piece of paper. And I've proved that. I've proved that with the 20 minutes to write down plus 1d6 story. But because the cell phone is now an appropriate tool for the game, do you feel that they're not engaging because they have all the stuff on the phone and the phone is in their face instead of you? Again, are they responding? Are they showing up on time? Are they leaving? Do they clean up after themselves? Then yeah, they're engaged. If they're not responding, if they're not interjecting, if they're having conversations on the phone, if they're getting up and walking around and stuff like that, well then yeah, they could appear to not be engaged. But we have to also take into account that how I engage and how you engage and how that other person engages might be completely different, because we have to take into account that some of these people are neurodivergent, are on the spectrum, and how a person in the spectrum, how a high functioning might respond and engage differently. Okay, so maybe they don't look you in the eye. A lot of people on the spectrum can't look other people in the eyes. Maybe they're not as socially aware, or have tics, or fidget like I do, or, you know, are looking at the phone instead of looking at you. But does that mean they're not engaged, or does that mean they're just engaging on a different level? Because again, I've played and run for people, and on the surface, it would appear that they're not engaged. I've run games for an entire room of high functioning, and anybody walking by would say that they're not playing, they're not engaged. So, but yeah, they were. They're just engaged on a different level. So this gets back to communication and getting out of that mindset of you're not playing my game. The really sad and aggravating part of that was the responses are, well, I'm not your therapist. If your behavior disrupts my game, get the fuck out. I'm not willing to work with you. And of course, all the people who said, well, there's no such thing as being on the spectrum. That's just woke bullshit. I don't have to acknowledge your fifis. I'm not your therapist. If you're disrupting my game, get the fuck out. I'm not willing to work with you. I'm not willing to work with you. My way or the highway. Okay, I guess the past 16 years of my life working with those neurodivergent, high-functioning Down syndrome kids, I can now just go back to all of them and say, guess what, guys? You're fine. Turns out Down syndrome isn't a thing. Turns out you're not high-functioning autistic. Turns out you don't need that wheelchair for your CPS. Because it's bullshit. It's woke bullshit. Yeah, no, fuck you. It's a very real thing. So define what engagement means to you. Don't just blanketly say, get out. And then ask yourself, are they checking off the things on my list to make me feel like they're contributing and engaged in my game? Because again, what are you looking for? Are you looking for Sam Riegel cosplaying, silly voices, bringing props, totally always talking about the game, having little special folders for each character? Is that what defines engagement? Or is engagement to you mean show up to the game, have the right stuff, whether it be on the phone or on the thing, know what your character does, and then once the game starts, keep the non-gaming related conversations to a low minimum, play the game, appreciate the game, interact with the game. At the end of the game, clean up after yourself, and say, hey, thanks, I had a good time, I'll be back next week. Is that what engagement means? Are you saying that because people are looking on their phones, they're not engaged in your game? Well, Fairy Garden, remember, 10% of people have their gaming stuff on the phone. That number has gone up as we speak, probably to about 40 to 50% of the people have their gaming stuff on the phone. And that number will only go up between now and 2030, where, whether you like it or not, 80% of the gaming stuff will be done online, on the phone. So if they have the phone or the tablet or the laptop out, and that's what they're focusing on because that's where all the stuff they have, does that mean they're not engaging? Or are they just simply engaging using the tools that are available to them? I don't know, man. Whoever started the argument needed to define what he felt engaging in the game was, and how to, what the scenario was. And the response should have been, talk to them. And then the second response should have been, well, define engaging. And the third response should have been, well, you understand that different people engage in different ways. We all don't think the same. We all don't act the same. We all don't respond the same. Nobody is going to play the game exactly like you do, because nobody else is you, jerk. You are the only you. So only you can play like you. That guy over there can only play like them. That guy over there can only play like them. That girl over there can only play like them. Whether they live up to your ideals or not, that's between you and them. But to just blanketly say, well, if you're not engaging the way I think you should engage, fuck off. And then to get all insulting and condescending and telling people, oh, you don't matter, your feelings don't matter, what you think and how you act doesn't matter. If you don't behave in a very specific way at my game, get out, because your disability, I'm not your therapist, I'm not your parent. If your disability interferes with, I don't know, my game, much less your life, well, you're in a wheelchair, you can't be in my game. Well then, yeah, why would anybody want to play in your game? You're fucking lucky if you get one other person who shows up once a month for 2 hours to want to play your game. Much less if you get a couple people in this day and age. And if one of those people isn't responding the way you think you should respond, what gives you the right to say, get the fuck out? No, work with them, talk with them. You don't know. You don't know what's going on with them, what they need to make gaming life work better for them. It's a game. You have, when you say stuff like that, you have forgotten the basic principle that this is a silly, stupid, nonsense game about goblins with sticks. Ooh, spookies. That's it, okay? And if they're playing and enjoying and having fun and interjecting, and that interjection and have fun leads to laughter or whatever, they're still engaged. But if they're like getting, Even if they're getting up and walking around, that maybe they need to walk around in order to engage. You don't know. So don't just blanketly judge them. Talk to them. See if you can work something out. Give them 3 choices, 3 chances, 2 chances, a second chance, whatever. I've done it. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to talk to your players. It's not that hard to get off your OSR, old school bullshit soapbox. Get out of that, well, play my game my way or else mindset. Because whether you like it or not, the universe of the hobby has changed, both positively and Wizards of the Coast, Critical Role, negatively. But even that negative shit is there, and it's not going away. So you need to adapt to the fact that the universe has changed, or move aside for people who do adapt and are willing to change and are willing to say, hey, I see what that kid's doing in my game. Is he not dialed in, or is there something else going on that maybe we can talk about? Because once you start talking to them, you don't know, you might find out that he's the most engaged player at your table. He knows more about your game than you do because he's remembered shit you forgot from 2 years ago. But he's just engaging in a different way. Okay, so yeah, Professor Dungeon Master, don't tell Phil he can walk off. Tell Phil, hey, maybe we could work together, Phil. I noticed this. And to that other guy, again, oh yeah, well, those problems don't exist. There's no such thing as on the spectrum. Blah, blah, blah. If you act up, you're not welcome at my game. I'm the best. You're the worst. Fuck you. Yeah, your gaming table must be very lonely there, Burby. Just you, right? Just you in an empty room, wandering around. Nobody else can live up to your expectations. Dear God. Anyways, I apologize for the foul language. Have a great day.